James from Staten Island. I am of the belief that Roman Reigns against The Rock at WrestleMania should not happen. Roman Reigns, from the start of his push up until now, has completely demolished every big name there is. Whether it's The Undertaker, Triple H, Brock Lesnar on multiple occasions, John Cena and Randy Orton on multiple occasions, Daniel Bryan on multiple occasions. You see where I'm going with this. At some point, you have to allow other people to shine, especially since Roman is now a part-time, or on a part-time schedule, and intends to leave the industry in a few years. What do you gain from pumping all of your resources into someone who isn't in it for the long run? First of all, let's pump the brakes here for a second. I don't know where you got that from, that he plans to leave in a few years. The guy's 37 years old. He told People magazine he plans to wrestle until he's 50. By my math, that's more than a few years. So again, I don't know where you're getting that from. But anyway, he says everyone is going to want that match until the result happens with Roman, of course, winning. And we all will have wasted our final big resource on a man that has already beaten everybody else. Roman has hit his peak, and no matter what they do, he will never be at the level of an Austin or a Rock or a Hogan because his push was not organic. It was forced from day one. What say you? Roman will be, to the new generation of fans, what Hogan and Flair and Austin and Rock were to those of us who grew up watching wrestling 25, 30, 35 years ago. Just like John Cena already is to a lot of people. And I got news for you. The Cena push was forced upon us also. So much so that people rebelled against it. Cena was organically over on his own before the mega push. But Vince just latched onto him and he went overboard with it. That's where the whole Super Cena thing comes from. But you cannot say that John Cena did not get over at a high level because of that. Just because he was overly pushed, John Cena, he didn't get over. He did. Ultimately, he did. And history is going to be a lot kinder to John Cena than a lot of fans were at the time that he was being pushed. To me and to you, yes, of course, those names that you mentioned, they're on another level. They're on Mount Rushmore. And the business that they did at their peak, it was bigger than anything that Roman Reigns has done so far. Wrestling was just hotter back then. They had a lot to do with that. WWE makes more money now than they did 30 years ago or 40 years ago. They weren't $1 billion company back then. But it's not because of Roman Reigns. It's not because of any one person. It's the brand. It's just different now. Wrestling is just different. To your point about why Rock and Roman shouldn't happen, if it's not Roman Reigns, then guess what? There is no Rock match. And even that is not a guarantee that The Rock will be back for another match. There always seems to be something that comes up that prevents him from doing a match. But if he comes back, it's going to be to wrestle his cousin and to put his family over, nobody else. So if The Rock is open to doing the match, and he has said in media interviews, he's definitely open to it. And if he can find a way to make it work, you would deserve to have your promoter's license revoked if you did not do that match. Because that match is box office. It's the biggest box office match left that WWE can do. And if Roman wins, the biggest star in Hollywood just came back and put over the biggest star in your company. And when someone on your roster does finally beat him, whoever that person is, that's going to be a really big fucking deal. So if they can get The Rock, you absolutely do that match. I don't even know that it'll be any good. Rock is 50 now. He looked gassed out against Cena when he was 40. But as Hogan showed us when he wrestled The Rock that first time, he was almost 50. He wasn't moving around all that well. But they had one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. And by the way, Rock won that match. Rock was already a made guy. He didn't need that win. You could say the same thing about The Rock at WrestleMania 18. Why'd he beat Hogan? He didn't need to win that match. But he did. And it was a huge deal. When you're a big enough star, it's amazing what a hot crowd can do. So, James, I talked to James. James always sends in questions. We talk. You're a smart guy. But if you can get The Rock, you do the match. That's it. Period. End of story. If you can get him to commit, that is the match that you do.